Hey everyone, and welcome to our final video from this series. Now, hopefully, if you've watched my previous series of similar ideas, but just with positive integers, this won't be anything new to you. So if you haven't watched those, go ahead and watch that. It'll give you a more in-depth, slower take at what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to work through these example questions with it in mind that you guys have probably seen the order of operations before and you know how to work with them. But I'll try to throw some of the stuff in this video too. I just want to make it nice and quick for all of you. So I want to evaluate the following here. So I have 5 plus 2 times negative 3. Okay. So what do I want to do here? Well, I want to consider which operation to do first. And here, multiplication always comes before addition because multiplication is just a type of abbreviation for addition. So it's kind of just like a shortened thing. Instead of adding groups of numbers, instead of adding groups of the same number, we can multiply them. So this thing here is like saying 5 plus, well, I have two lots of negative 3. So that's like saying negative 3 plus negative 3. I have two groups of negative 3 here, which I'm adding together because multiplication is, like what we said, an abbreviation for addition. So if I have here, I'm plussing minus 3. So that gives the same answer as if we were to just subtract 3 from negative 3. So this is like saying 5 plus minus 3 minus 3. Now, if we subtract 3 from 3, we get negative 6. So this is like saying 5 plus negative 6. And once again, we are adding a negative number to a positive. So this is like saying 5 minus 6, which, well, it's the same, it's a different operation, but it leads us to the same answer. And in doing this, we get negative 1. And that is our answer. So once again, we're using our order of operations with negative numbers here as well. But the order of operations don't actually change. We're still going to we still want to multiply first here and then work through and do all the addition here. So let's try another one. For question 2, we have minus 6 times 2 minus 10 divided by minus 5. And if you remember from our orders of operations, my multiplication and division, we do those first. It doesn't matter which one from those two we pick first, we get to the same answer, but we treat those differently than we do our subtraction here. We want to work through the multiplication and division first. So our first thing here, negative 6 times 2, this is like saying, well, just two lots of negative 6. So we have negative 6 plus minus negative 6. And from that, we are minusing. And I've just left the brackets here just to break these little expressions up into smaller bits. But from all of this, we're subtracting 10. So let's do that in a different color. 10 divided by negative 5. And now we want to do my brackets because I've put these in brackets just to show, well, we want to work through these individually. We want to solve what's in these brackets and then apply the negative at the very end. So minus 6 plus minus 6. By now you should be getting the hang of this. We're adding a negative number. So that's going to give us the same answer as minus 6 minus 6. So that gives us minus 12. And from that, we're subtracting 10 divided by minus 5. Well, how many times does negative 5 go into 10? Well, it goes negative 2 times. So this thing here is negative 2. And now finally, we can do our subtraction here. So we have negative 12 minus 2. And here, hopefully you can see, we have a double negative. So we're subtracting a negative number. What does that give us the same answer as? Well, we can think of that also as adding 2. And finally, from here, we get minus 12 plus 2. We're adding a positive number to a negative number. So our number is going to get bigger. We're going to go to the right-hand side of our number line. So this is going to go up to negative 10. Okay, let's do one more here. So question 3. Let's add one more element to this. So we're going to do 5 divided by, and we have brackets here. So we have minus 10 plus 5 plus 7. Okay, so you may have remembered from my previous video series that when we put these brackets around, that's just a way of drawing attention and highlighting this particular expression to show that it should be treated as its own number. So we want to first do whatever's in these brackets. We've just highlighted and drawn attention to this. So we want to find first what minus 10 plus 5 is. So my first term 5 is going to be the same here. And I'm dividing by what negative 10 plus 5 is. And that is going to give me negative 5. And to all of that, I'm adding 7. So if I divide 5 by negative 5, I have a positive divided by a negative because a positive 5 is implied here. And we want to figure out, well, how many times does negative 5 go into 5? What is 5 divided by minus 5? When we divide a positive by a negative, we get a negative answer. So also, sorry, I should mention, the division comes before the addition, just based on our order of operations, which we've covered extensively in the previous series. So let's keep powering through. 5 divided by negative 5 gives me negative 1, and I'm adding 7 to this. And finally, I want to find now what 7 more than negative 1 is. So I'm going to go to the right. My number is going to be somewhere. It's going to go in the direction of the right of my number line. So if you remember my number line from negative 1, say, to, I don't know, let's say 10. The direction here, when I'm adding a number, my number's getting bigger. So I'm going to get a number that's 7 bigger than negative 1. When I add these, I end up with positive 6. So that is how we can work with our order of operations, which hopefully we know by now. And we can see that if we just remember the different patterns that arise, especially for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with both positive and negative integers, these questions hopefully now look a bit more approachable and less intimidating. But thank you so much for joining me. This brings an end to our series, and I'll see you in the next one.